Hi, I'm Nick Mendolia. Let's discuss Shop Floor Mobile, specifically the Work in Process or WIP module. Welcome to the Shop Floor Mobile educational series. In this video, I will demonstrate the Work in Process or WIP transaction functionality within Shop Floor Mobile. The WIP module allows us to keep track of WIP locations as materials are processed through work orders on the floor. We can track where materials are in between operations. We can track where raw materials are being issued to work orders that haven't actually been used yet. There's quite a few features in the WIP functionality that we can use. However, for this demonstration, we're just going to concentrate mostly on what we could do at the material handler queue and how we can queue that material up from other parts of the visual system within Shop Floor Mobile, including labor and material. Certainly we have the ability to create manual requests for materials to move. One of the nice features of the WIP functionality is creating move requests so that a material handler has a queue or a to-do list of materials that need to be moved around the shop floor. They'll know where the material is, where it needs to be picked up from, and where it needs to be delivered to, and whether they want to deliver it directly to a job to be worked on immediately, or if it needs to be stored in a location temporarily until that operation is in need of it. We're going to do some labor operations to show how we can move or create a move request through a labor ticket. So here I'm just going to do a normal run for a job, and I have a job in the system 6,000. I'm manually typing this in, but I can use a standard barcode if you have barcode scanners, in which case you would just scan one barcode to fill all of this in automatically. So I'm just saying I'm working at the shear operation. And now I'm ready to stop that job. We'll pretend a few hours have passed, and it just wants to know how many I've completed. I'll say I've done 4, and at the same time I'm going to create the move request. So here's our new functionality. It knows that the next operation that this material needs to go to is the brake department from the shear department that I'm working on now. However, I can change that and tell it to deliver it somewhere else. I can also identify what type of delivery I want. A drop only means just bring it to the next operation of the brake and they will begin working on it and it will be delivered and stay in normal WIP. Or I can choose WIP inventory, meaning it's not going to get used yet. There could be some time before this operation is needing that material, so it might go and sit in inventory. That's going to be more common if you're doing sub-assemblies, and that sub-assembly is going to wait somewhere before being needed by the main assembly. So we can choose drop only, in which case that'll be the last thing that has to happen. They just drop it off. Or WIP inventory, where they'll determine what location, whether it's a warehouse or a spot on the floor in a department or such. We can also choose equipment type. Maybe it's a large piece of material and we need a forklift. So we can enter equipment types in a table and choose from the list of what type of equipment needs to move it. The status, I'm going to say that this is ready for pickup because I'm done with it over here in the labor ticket, so it's immediately ready to be picked up. It will automatically create a request ID for me, so I don't need to do that. And if I wanted to give more information, all of this, by the way, is all optional. There's nothing required. It's going to default to where it thinks it should be going, which is most likely the case in most cases. So we can just leave it at that and just basically click the button to create the move request and submit. Okay. Same thing with materials. If I'm doing an issue to a work order, so if I'm issuing to that same work order 6,000 of raw material now, so this is not actually the work between operations, this is material that the job actually needs. And we'll say that this is this B1241 part. I'm issuing it from the warehouse main to location area 1, and I need somebody to come pick that up. And I'm also going to say that that's ready for pickup. And here I can specify a department to deliver it to, but it already has the resource ID that it knows it's going to based on the work order that I chose. And here I'm telling it that I'm just bringing it to inventory. It's not ready to be used. Perhaps I just want to drop it off out there on the floor somewhere. So maybe I'll leave that and I'll submit that. So I created two different move requests, one from moving it material that's been through a labor operation to move to another operation, and one that's actual raw material to move from the warehouse to the starting operation. I could do the same thing with purchasing on a purchase receipt and create a move request. If you have purchases that are linked to jobs when it's received, rather than just receiving it and immediately going to WIP and not knowing where it is, I can create a move transaction that will assign a location in the WIP process. So going back to my WIP function, I'm a material handler. I'm going to look at my material handler queue, and you can see here's all of the different requests that I've made for the material handlers to pick up. And you can see the employee to pick it up is not listed in here in some of these, and you can see Dave is listed here, Ali is on a few others. So I can choose several of these and choose who I want them to be assigned to, and I have it defaulted in my preferences to be Ali, but I can change that. I'll leave it as Ali for now, and I'll say assign. So now these are all assigned to Ali, so when Ali is logged in, she can see all of the different materials that she is supposed to pick up. And she can tell in process is just that. It's those items that are at an operation that need to be moved to another operation. She knows what to do with them. I'm just dropping it off, or I'm moving it to an inventory location. And there's other information in here that she can see for where it is on the floor, whether it's a warehouse location or it's a resource, or so on. So lots of good information here to be able to track that. Then Ali can just choose what she wants to do. She can say that she picked it up, and if I look at my picked up flag to see what's been picked up already, you can see now that this has been flagged as picked up. And it's in process of being moved, so when she's done moving it, she just tells it, did I drop it off only, or did I move it to WIP inventory? And in this case, it's asking it to be moved to WIP inventory, so I can manually override that if I wanted to by choosing drop only, but I'll do what it was asked. And here's where I'm telling it where I'm putting it. So I can tell it I'm moving it to an actual warehouse location. I'll say MMC main. So that's all you have to do to be able to track and move that inventory. But the real nice thing about this is that ability to create this list for a material handler to be able to move materials and work in process throughout the shop floor. If you have any other questions, let us know.